A battered Buick spattered on a sandblasted highway, the chipped-lined paint weathered with time. The wind trailed behind the car, stirring the desolate landscape behind it as it returned to stillness. The sun crept ever lower towards the sandy plains, and the Buick groaned as the potholes rocked it from side to side. A viper slithered off the asphalt, shedding its skin on the grit beneath it as it climbed into a withered shrub. Nothing grows in the desert but a desert rose. Isaac took a swig from his hip flask and stepped on it. Nobody was out here anyways. The engine rattled up a drumbeat, and Isaac found himself slipping into an old memory as the tumbleweed and dust scenery slipped past him. Drape the night over your shoulders like your favorite jacket. Comb your hair with the orange streetlights and let your eyes shine with the light of the stars above. When the jazz plays, that's when you don't have to be yourself. The saxophone tailors you a new face, and the liquor coats your tongue in silver. Nothing grows in the desert but a desert rose, she'd said, as the footfalls were met by a melody that spilt out onto the ballroom floor. He'd embraced her in that moment, and the night had swept them away, for the dawn to find them wrapped in each other still. We all begin life as bright-eyed children with faith in the magics of the world before the sand erodes us. Faith is a spectre of innocence lost, a fearful haunt of those who crave wonderment from this God-forgotten world, a small reprieve from stars until dusk. Ate Malkuth, Leolam, Amen. Sit down, child, and close your eyes. Imagine the longest stretch of time that feels real, and the most important thing you can do in that time. Push past the times and the places that are hidden, to times and places where the question doesn't make sense. Find where the half-forgotten daydreams feel dreamt up by another, where usurped, desperate desires give way to blighted open plains, where days and weeks find themselves scattered on a highway bridge, blowing in the wind as a spectral hand grips an ice-cold rail. A place where time floats beside an isolated figure, writing and rewriting a singular question. The best he could have asked for, and this is where it ends. An ice-cold whisper trembles down his sides. The bitter taste in his mouth descends to meet the lump in his throat. His voice coalesces into a spirit taking hold of his will, releasing him finger by finger. And as he gazes into her almond eyes, she warns him. Nothing grows in the desert but a desert rose, she says, lighting a cigarette. But he kisses her anyways, parting lips marred with cocaine and Xanax for a taste of tenderness, and the porcelain shatters on a shard of gypsum. Fingers trace tender flesh under Celine's silver satin, rushing now as the embers smolder in his grey eyes. Desire's yoke binds them together as the wayward shepherd leads them to slaughter. Red wine stains white meat on eve of November's end. Tensions rise around a carcass in the hopes of withering budding love. Blood may be thicker than water, but wine flows more readily than both. And as the Romans say, in vino veritas. Isaac hasn't been back since. They take flight now and feel the city of lights raise beneath their wings, gambling life away on 21, drinking SoCal wine to the sound of slots and craps. Nothing's real out here, but both of them know. Hidden amidst the porcelain tapestry lies the artist's hands. A mystic's tent rises by nightfall, and within the old crone is draped in Tyrian purple. 15. The devil, she whispers hoarsely, grimacing as the card comes up. Here, 6. The lovers. The couple smirk. 16. The tower. She picks up the card and the couple laugh, but at the bottom of the deck lies 12, and in her mind the smiling man already hangs. A night of mischief for the city of sin. A pilgrimage of young men come to seek fortune's favor in sacrifices of silver and gold. But as the wheel turns, crimson stains white rose with that which does not die. To love and to cherish, until death do us part. The engine sputtered and gave out as the tank ran empty. The sun had just fallen behind the horizon, and the azure night set a wave of indigo sand upon the desert. Isaac turned the windows down and prepared for the night. There's truth, you know, in Pygmalion Galatia. All warlocks seek to transmute stone into flesh. As Eliot White writes, lips that would kiss form prayers to broken stone. We have all yearned to know marble that would not reward our trembling hand with Stygian cold. But at the very least, marble does not lie. Sine cera almens mei. Isaac pulled a jacket over himself, and in the warmth of the desert night, he slept. A man came around morning, and they shared a beer as the sun chased the night away. He gave Isaac gas, and they parted ways. The engine turned over, and after a brief pause, so did the wheels, and the car headed on its path once more. To love and to cherish, until death do us part? I do. A night of inebriation ends in a dress of white silk, and so, by night's end, they find themselves betrothed, as the knot was tied by a dead king. Bound together by twilight, the serpents writhed beneath satin sheets. As the moon fell from the night sky, she recounted how Adam tasted Eve's forbidden fruit, and both left Eden like Lilith before them. Abandoned, Eden withered. Nothing grows in the desert, but a desert rose. She kissed him tenderly as the Sandman led him away, and by sunrise, she was gone. Run away to New Orleans, dance your nights away and drink away your mornings. Neat scotch for the taste of last night's cigarette and for today's ecstasy. The witch sells voodoo, but he knows better. Black magic impregnates this dance floor. He can taste it on his tongue, in the memory of her lips on his, in the numbness of his senses, in the touch of her. Adonai Elohim, why have you forsaken me? The sax distorts in his drugged mind into a hymn for Lucifer. He invoked him, and so the tempter beckoned as the fallen prowled beneath the highway bridge. Faith is a spectre of innocence lost, of a past life that now haunts in undeath, and Isaac leapt. Salvation didn't happen between pews and stained glass. The white lights that greeted him weren't angelic, but fluorescent. Asclepius' swords would tend to him, not the saints. He had been forsaken long ago. The prodigal son, lost and dreaming of home. The prodigal son, wrapped in sheepskin and sent on his way. It's a strange thing to live without love and light, to walk only the dark valleys of shadows where men go to die, a field where nothing grows. And there was no more death nor pain, for the old world had slipped away overnight, and all that remained was dust. Because nothing grows in the desert but a desert rose, and you'll cut yourself to know those lips.